you look around the league, there's a lot of teams, in the hunt. We're in the hunt. You sit here and you say, hey, Thanksgiving, and close to the end of November, and we're in the hunt. When you sit around that table tomorrow, you're saying we're in the hunt. And there's a lot of teams that wish they were in the hunt. Well, we're in the hunt.
The hardest law school to get a degree from, the grittiest concrete, the most dangerous wolf breed. These are all topics with which I have the same expertise as the one we're about to talk about, which is the 2022 NFL Draft. It's the In the Huntcast Draft recap episode, and I have the list of Bills that were drafted, and I can pronounce most of their names after listening to the radio all week. Hi, Kyle and Sean. Thanks for.
Well, and a funny thing, we should a little peek behind the curtain is we had a couple different guests lined up. It didn't work out, so now instead of getting expert information, we're gonna be like, yo, who'd the Bills draft again? And that's gonna be most of the episode.
Well, I just got done telling you guys, I'm glad, because we didn't have experts. I embarrassed myself in front of them. Like, they can make up names. Like, an expert should come on our podcast and be like, Hibia Bibia is probably the best cornerback in the draft. I'm like, oh yeah, that guy, he had good hips.
He's got good hips.
Good hips.
Without an expert here on like film, I feel like it's going to be like, how'd you guys like James Cook? And they're like, pretty good. And then we just move on. It's going to be a 5-minute podcast. It's Greg's dream.
Yeah. No, there is. So I did not watch a lot of college football, and I will tell you that I watched like the championship game. So I don't have time for college football. I don't know how people do. But
Saturdays aren't great.
We can definitely, no, they're not. We can definitely talk about the positions they took and grades that we've read, and just like the philosophy is different. Like this, there's going to be 3 tight ends on the field at the same time for the Bills. There's going to be, some differences this year with the Bills that I think it's worth.
Well, maybe we should even zoom out more. How much of the draft did you watch?
All of the first round, and the second round and third I followed on Twitter.
Ooh, you didn't even watch?
No, well, rounds. I was out with friends at a bar. Ever hear of it?
You have been studying all year the tape. You've been texting me about round 5 steals all year, and then you're going out with Lou to a bar?
First off, Lou was not there. Also, this is the first time I was ever with a group that did this, and I wanted to kill myself. We walked into a bar, and they naturally had the hockey game on, and we asked if we could get one TV dedicated to the draft. And I hated it. Like, I was like, anytime you ask a bartender anything if you ask a bartender anything, literally anything, like, hey, can I get a beer? They hate you.
Yes.
Bartenders
my God.
hate their fucking job. If you're like, hey, can I get a Bud Light? It's right there. They're like, fuck, dude.
Yes.
Also,
Sean, you need to write this down. We're doing an episode on like bar life and like the idea of like TVs and how bars need to like just leave the remote control on the bar.
Yeah,
we need to do an episode on
it. A
this.
thing that annoys me is that every establishment, every bar, every restaurant with TVs, they don't know how the TV works.
None.
It's insane.
They also have no idea where the remote is.
Yes.
You go, hey, can you change this? And they look at it and they go, I don't know. I don't know where the remote is. And I think if you change that, I think the building sets on fire.
It's crazy. You'll be like, it's on ESPN. Just say, and they're like,
they have a cable system that doesn't exist. Oh, we have Juno cable. Like, so, I think it's on channel, and they'll go through it channel by, like, they'd never used a remote control before. They'll do the channel up button, and they won't even go to the guide.
They're using it. They're like, they can't read guide. They're
do
like,
you watch TV at home at all? And then there's like 2 guys at the bar that are always trying to help. Is it DirecTV or is it Spectrum? Okay, so it should be 628-1. There's a dash, yes, 628-1.
There's a group of dudes always Googling ESPN for Spectrum.
Yeah. I've been told that you can get an app on your phone that will take control of a TV and turn it, but like, That
It's
is.
a universal remote. You ever see the movie Click?
They did, yes.
Yeah.
What's her name? The
Oh, Greg has to mute himself because
because my dogs are excited. They love the draft episode. They're like, the dogs are saying, "Talk about football. Who cares about our TV?"
I also want to say there's
Kate
a
Beckinsale.
there's-
She's freaking hot in that movie.
It's true. There's a bar near me that on Sundays they already know every they assign like TVs like this. The Giants going to be on this one. Bills are going to be on this one. But it's so fucked because like you could be there and you could be like, oh, me and these 15 Bills fans got seated over here. Can you flop? And they're like, nah, it's impossible. We can't do that. And you're like, but we'll give you money to do this thing. And like bars have to figure out how their TV or sometimes they have one person who's like, oh, that's the TV guy. So he's busy right now, but he'll get the remote and he'll do all the TV stuff. It's a remote. Why is it so hard?
Yeah, man. Bar life. It probably sucks. We're shitting on them, but like also then don't do it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna
turn the
hate
TVs off. Do what Nietzsche's in Buffalo does. Have a channel that doesn't exist showing a movie that's in Italian with no sound. And then their other TV is the music choice channel that just runs facts on bands for songs you can't hear because the TV. My favorite TV in Buffalo is the Nietzsche TV that's on music choice. Like you see Allman Brother band facts and there's no Allman Brothers music because
I will say though,
that TV.
this is a little inside if people have never been to Nietzsche's. How many times were you there for a mic or a show? Did you end up watching the black and white movie they were showing at the 13-inch TV in the corner and you're just staring at it and you're like, maybe I'll go home and like look at and like watch this movie. It looks fun from down here.
I agree. One more thing on the bar thing, because this is way more interesting than the draft. The best is when you have the bartender scrambling and they finally have their attention and they're ready to turn the game on, but you know you're annoying them, so you want it to happen quick. So they point the TV at like the one you want on the Bills game, and it turns 4 different other TV channels, and then they're trying to hide the laser with their hand on the other TVs to just turn it to one, and it's always a disaster. We could have done a whole episode on this, but
we could have.
Can I talk about the draft a little bit?
No, sorry. We got to go back into the bar because the other thing about the bar is that no, you could we could talk about the draft if you like. I was just amazed you didn't watch any of it. That's what
I
we
watched
got
the whole first round.
Greg probably watched more than
I have a little I guess I don't know, bit of advice is after your team, the draft is over, naturally a lot of people go to YouTube and they'll put in the guy's name or girl's name and
okay.
I'm just inclusive here.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll watch highlights and a lot of times there's also interviews on there with the player, some either in the college or they just got drafted. There's an interview. Don't watch the interviews. You're never going to come away excited for that player. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's because they're young, but athletes are the most uninteresting, not funny people that have ever existed in the history of time.
Wow.
So I'm not calling anyone out. There are some outliers. There's the Pat McAfees of the world, but for the most part, I mean, simple questions. They'll be like, what's your favorite movie? And they're like, Gatorade. You're like, all right. I'll just move on. And I always love the person giving the interview because they don't go, what are you talking about? They just go, perfect, Gatorade, great movie. And next question. Don't watch any interview. You're not going to get excited.
Although I will say this, maybe this is a great segue, is I wish people, us draft heads here, had access to more of that stuff early on, because if I had seen that Kyer interview that was making the rounds post draft of him kind of showing up at the Bills interview with the playbook, and he's like, I study everything I do wrong, I make notes about all my mistakes, and you could like see like Beana McDermott get noticeable boners during the and like if I saw that interview, I'd be like, oh, they're drafting this guy 100. I mean, obviously that's why we don't see it.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, it's one of those things we're all just doing these darts of like, oh, I think they're gonna maybe they'll this guy. This guy has longer arms than this guy. But like you see that interview and they're like, oh, this guy was probably, they would have picked anyone over.
He could have had one leg, and the
Yes.
Bills would have the first one-legged cornerback
Yeah.
in the NFL. You saw Bean. He was trying McDermott. McDermott does not smile. And even he was kind of like, he was hiding a smile on his face at the end of that interview, like clapping.
The most, I guess, leading up to the draft was everyone pretty much saying, and I brought this up in the pre-draft episode, is cornerback or wide receiver. And I put my flag in my opinion day of the draft. I said, I want a wide receiver strictly because it's more fun and flashy, but they absolutely need a cornerback. All of the cornerbacks, the cornerback room was significantly worse than the wide receiver room.
Mm-hmm.
So I put my flag down. I said, they can't go into this season and pretend Dane Jackson and Cam Lewis are the guys, and whatever 6th round pick they spend a corner on. It sucks because wide receiver is so much more cool and fun, but you have to get that corner. You had to upgrade that cornerback room.
Well, let me ask you, Kyle, were you afraid? Because yes, when we did our draft preview episode, that was the talk for like the 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 days before the draft. Everyone was putting Breece Hall to the Bills, and it almost looked like someone knows something. Like that interview with Kyer Elam where he said all those, it's almost like a video of Breece Hall and the Bills leaked, and you just knew that the Bills were taking him by all of the mocks going that way. When it happened, it wasn't a smart move, but I just I'm dumb. I'll get excited about anything. It's hard to get excited about a cornerback, but when like the best running back in the class is going to the Bills, I can get behind that because they, that would have been exciting to me.
There was also a funny thing where I was watching the draft. Kyle was out partying, but I was watching the second round of the draft, and it's just so funny because you're like, obviously the Jets picked Breece Hall, and you're like, man, I wish we had him. He's such a beast. And then they interview him, and he is like, and you're like, dude, does this guy have braces? Like what? Like he has braces. He's like this huge, like he's like running over people and like stiff arming 400-pound people, and his braces. You're like, what's happening? This is what I like to watch.
Like he runs over a guy and then he's like, hold on, wait, I lost a rubber band.
Yeah. You're like, wait, are these highlights from 8th grade? What's happening here?
I am watching. They didn't get Hall. James Cook highlights. I am excited about James Cook. I'm the total idiot Bills fan who didn't know what they were going to do coming in, didn't really care. You draft that running back, they start showing the highlight packages. Cook as a receiver, I was immediately thinking of Thurman Thomas, lining up as a receiver, catching passes. He just looks like I almost hate saying it because it's become such a cliche, but like that Deebo Samuel type, like guy that can catch and get yards after the catch because he's big and hard to tackle. So that's what he looks like.
And it seemed like a little bit of a bone to the people who wanted a high wide receiver. It's like, hey, we could use this guy a lot as, catching the ball, getting Kyle's favorite thing, those precious yaks.
You got to get a yak or two, man.
Yeah.
I mean, going in, I think Singletary, I think I read a PFF, they had him as like the worst ranked pass catching back or something, or like lowest QBR when targeting a running back was Singletary. And obviously it was a position that you have to need. And again, same thing, like they signed Duke Johnson, but like how many times are Bills fans going to fall for, we sign the veteran running back, he won't play a role on this team. He will be inactive. That is the veteran role on this team. It's been for the past 3 years, there's been an inactive veteran every year.
Breida?
That's Duke Johnson this year.
Who is it before Breida?
Yeldon.
Oh yeah, TJ Yeldon. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
I like
2
that. I
years.
like that signing when they made Yeldon.
Yeah, everyone liked this. Everyone liked the Matt Breida signing.
Yeah,
And then everyone liked the Duke Johnson signing. And everyone's like, there's the guy. It's not the guy.
I don't
It's
know
not what they want.
I don't know who your non-Louis friends are, but I don't know anyone that was excited about the Duke Johnsons.
No, I'm saying like that's the pass
who is this
catching
everyone
thing.
that was excited about Duke
Duke
Johnson? Where's the Duke Johnson
Johnson
club?
Listen,
the
somebody
Duke group?
I was listening to WGR and somebody from Canandaigua called. I really like the Duke Johnson guy.
I go to the bar to watch the game. There's a bunch of guys in the corner. Could you put Duke Johnson's game on? I don't know what team he plays for. I don't know what channel it's on. I just want to watch Duke Johnson.
Hold on, I would like to hear more of Kyle's Canandaigua impression, please.
Oh shit! Say hello in Canandaiguan.
Hello. That's honestly not bad. That's a perfect Western New York accent.
This is a Western New York accent. My accent is a Western New York accent. I don't talk like that. I don't
even know
talk
where
like that.
Canandaigua is. Is that a
You're Rochester.
Okay.
It's gorgeous there. You should go there. Sonnenberg Gardens, very
Yeah,
nice.
I'll go.
Nice restaurants, big lake.
I'm on my way right now. You convinced me.
Oh.
I'm moving there.
Okay.
You can't afford it.
So Kyer, he was first pick. James Cook was the second pick. We talked about those a little bit. It seems we like both of those picks, right? For the most part, especially trading back in the second round.
Yeah. Both needs. Again, funny, isn't it? Funny how we take the best player available that we need. They just happen to be at two positions of need. They take the best player available. Get out of here, Bean. Quit lying to us.
Yeah. I feel bad for like the Bills cornerbacks that aren't like Johnson, Jackson, and who's the one that Levi Wallace, because all of the talk before and after the draft for the Bills is, well, they had dog shit at cornerback and they made it to almost the AFC Championship game though. So
well, that's
any upgrade is good.
That's something I wanted to touch on for a second with the picking a cornerback and why I was in favor of it is like leading up to the draft, the argument against taking a cornerback high, and it wasn't even really against it. It was just kind of like, maybe it was more an argument for a wide receiver, is a lot of people were saying like throughout McDermott's tenure as head coach, he has made cornerback to work. It's always been a low priced veteran or Levi Wallace, and he, that was the thing, is they always said it, the Bills and McDermott have made cornerback to work. And I always was like, that sounds like you put duct tape on a leak and you're like, yeah, the duct tape makes it work, but just imagine Tre'Davious White is good. We can all agree on that. Very, very good cornerback. Imagine if we had, instead of just making it work over here, if we had another Tre'Davious White, if you had two Tre'Davious Whites, and, hopefully we do now, if, I'm sure that's what we'd all love, but like, it was just one of those things where I was kind of sick of this. They made it work. Don't make it work. Make it be great.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything that, judging by how the board fell, you wish the Bills would have done? Because Kyle Hamilton fell quite a bit, and you got to think you could have went up and get him from, I don't know if your third would have done it. It probably would have taken the second round pick, but hell, James Cook, it's possible he would have been there with an early trade up. It's possible they leave this draft with, instead of Kyer, James Cook, and Terrell, Kyle Hamilton and James Cook as your first first 4 rounds. Were you hoping for that? Were you bummed at that? Are you fine with that?
I thought that would have been the thing that happened in the first round, that, like, and I said this in our preview, like that would have been neat. I just think that safeties are big here. It would have been cool to get the best safety in the draft. He sounds like an interesting prospect. I don't know how good he'll be. What number did he go at? Do you remember? I don't think it would have cost you a third. I think there was talk that a lot of people wanted to move down. I don't think that's actually true. And I bet you it would have cost you last year's first to move up.
I wonder,
chance I want him to do that.
So Detroit, I believe this is where they moved up. I think they went from 32 to 12 to draft Jamison Williams, and it cost them 32 and 34.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So
Kyle Hamilton went to 14.
Okay, so that's lower than I saw him mocked in a bunch of places.
Right.
You got to jump up 11 spots. So yeah, I honestly, I'm just in a trust in them. Like they needed a quarterback more than they needed a safety. That probably tells me that Poyer's going to be here and fine. And then they'll, now that the draft is there, they'll shake out what else they need. And whether or not they need another wide receiver or something like that. And they'll just sign him.
And it was the first time, I guess now that we've been good a couple years, this has kind of happened more often, but you didn't really hear many Bills fans going like, they picked this guy when this guy was still on the board. Like it seemed like we made this pick and everyone was like, yeah, fine. Need a cornerback. He seems good. That's cool.
Wide receiver would have been the position where I think people would have been like, oh, why didn't they go grab that wide receiver? You knew you weren't getting the ones way up there.
The top
and
tier
after
was
that,
off the board anyway. So
yeah, and after that, everyone was kind of equal. Like I don't know how, reading grades and stuff like that. I don't know how much Khalil Shakir would have been below a guy like Sky Moore, for instance, who went like 2 rounds higher than Khalil Shakir. So I don't know what the difference was in all of those wide receivers, or if the teams even knew that. So.
Sky Moore had a very wide range of grades from, my research of mock drafts.
All the film you watched.
Yes. Going anywhere from late first to late second. He ends up going 57, but like, I think the Bills were right in moving up to get the guy they absolutely wanted. If they moved back and let's say the Chiefs or the Packers take Sky Moore in the first round instead of the Chiefs take him in 57. So now you lose out on all your cornerbacks and your next best wide receiver, hoping he falls again. I'd rather have them jump a few spots and get the guy they absolutely want.
Right.
Than pray that Sky Moore makes it past the 2 teams.
Well, this Shakir kid seems like a ton of people are saying he's like our biggest steal of the draft, that he could, if not this year, kind of hopefully next year, be that like more athletic Cole Beasley slot receiver, which seems fun.
I don't even know if I could watch a Boise State football game on accident. Like, I don't know where I would be, where it would be on in the background. So I have no idea. But
the blue field hurts my eyes.
I like the blue
field. It really
field.
does.
Nice.
I don't. It hurts my eyes. It does.
Okay.
I tried not anything like I don't sit down and try to watch Boise State, but if it's on and I throw it on, I'm like, this hurts. I can't do it.
Dan, Kyle, I can't help you.
Whoa,
but I feel
what's happening?
That's right.
There is not even a Dan in the room.
Wow.
Just a whole different name.
Unbelievable.
Not even a name I have on the screen.
No, I have no excuse. I don't know why I called you Dan.
Why would you say that, Bill?
Yeah, it's like when my dad would call me the dog's name. He would do it.
Sean never called you the dog.
I don't like this bit.
That's right.
That's why it's staying.
Not starting it again.
That's a bit that's coming up, I think, in an upcoming Patreon episode where it's revealed I'm Kyle's dad.
Oh, I forgot I don't know how to keep things straight. Yeah. I don't know. I liked what I read about him though, but I have that tendency. Like I'll read about a guy and I'll like be so glad that they drafted him. So.
Well, is there anything you wished, though, the Bills had done differently? Like a lot of people surprised they didn't take a guard, even like mid to late round. Their only kind of interior backup right now is Cody Ford. Speaking of trading up to get a guy they like that doesn't work out. Is there anything like that you think's a little? I mean, I was a little, I trust, the Bills organization watches the film a little bit more closely than I do, but I was a bit surprised by the Terrell Bernard pick. I thought they would go for like a big Edmonds type replacement, and he seemed like a little more of a Milano type guy.
I will let Kyle field that one.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting, and I thought the no guard selection, especially in the mid rounds, was also kind of interesting.
Yeah, Terrell Bernard, from all accounts, is so he's only 6'1", 224, which, by the way, is like my exact body type. I'm sure him and I look exactly alike.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's not linebacker at all in this defense. Matt Milano's like 250, and Edmonds is whatever, who cares, 260, but he's
and 17 years old.
and 17. And so I mean, this guy's for sure, in my professional opinion as a podcaster, I mean, he's for sure coming in as like the big nickel, maybe short yardage third linebacker guy. Like, it's got to be that guy. He's just not big enough to play linebacker on a steady basis.
So I get that, but then I'll watch, like, someone shared a video of an old Bills highlight, and it got me down a rabbit hole. And I was watching London Fletcher, who might be one of the best linebackers of all time, at least in like the top 50. And there's just nothing to him. He's like not tall, doesn't seem to have big arms. He's just all over the place and good.
I think he was thick.
Sam Mills is 5'1" or something like that. He's a Hall of Famer, at least.
But Greg, you're talking about people that you watched in the 1950s. It's a new game now.
But that's when you needed linebackers. So that's when the position mattered. They didn't have face masks. They knew what they were doing. No, I don't know, but like Edmonds is gigantic if he's never in the right place. Like, I guess being gigantic makes up for that. You can reach your arm out to the place you should have been instead of in the hole, and that matters. Maybe this guy will go to the right hole and use 90% of his body instead of Edmonds going to the wrong hole and using 10% of his freakishly large, arm to make a tackle. So that has to matter at this level, that if he's smarter and just better at football.
Yeah. It's definitely telling, and maybe a glimpse into the future. I think, as Sean brought up before, that like two of the biggest winners in this draft were Edmonds and Poyer. Neither of them got a guy behind them from the draft. No safety or no middle line. The Bills drafted a middle linebacker in the 7th round from like Clemson, but like
Balin Spector.
Yeah, no one, cool name, but like no one's like, he's the replacement. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. It's looking more and more like both those guys might get some form of extension.
I don't think Poyer maybe, not Poyer. Poyer definitely looks like he'll get an extension now. I still think with Edmonds, it's going to get to the end of the year, and they're going to see if they have the money. They're going to see what the cap is at, and they're going to see who's available in the draft that year. I don't think that question has been answered yet.
I agree. And, I can't believe we've gone almost 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about this. We haven't talked about this, Kyle. Special teams.
Yes,
the Bills
addressed.
Drafted Matt Ariza, the punter. He last year he had an 86-yard punt. Kyle, are you not entertained? People have been tagging you in the Twitter account.
He tackles too. He's a tackling punter.
He's a tackler. His nickname is Punt God. He could be. He's a backup field goal kicker. He is a lefty, Kyle.
Yeah, not a fan. We all know that. I don't like the lefters.
How tall is he? Is he over 6 foot? Let's see if Kyle.
I think he's 6 foot exactly.
Oh, lucky him. He wouldn't even get acknowledged by Kyle Fuse.
You're under 6 foot and left-handed,
and a punter, and a special teamer. Jesus.
This was pretty crazy. I read this. He holds the record in average punting distance at 51.2 yards, and it's minimum 50 punts to get this record. And he hit 29 more punts than the previous holder. That's insane.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm more about the long game. So it's really cool. I don't care if we're punting from the 50. Yeah, you shouldn't be. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that. He should only be punting from hour 30 or whatever it is.
Well, that's why first of all, I think it's very cute that he was the third punter off the board and he has like a chip on his shoulder, which is very funny for like a punter. But to your point, I think it was Baltimore picked the first punter.
They did.
And he is a little bit more of like a specialist, could pin it deep and whatnot. And to your point, it's like, yeah, but if you're pinning it deep, you're punting at like the 50. And at that point, you fucked up. Like, I want a person who could punt at 80 yards because the only time I want him punting is when we're in our own red zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels good to laugh that the Bills drafted a punter and also not care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the same thing with Tyler Bass, where you're like, yeah, who gives a shit? Draft one. We need one.
No, you didn't watch Super Bowl 25 like I did. Kickers, I care about kicker. If this team is good and their kicker's not, that's all I would think about every day before I went.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is like, it feels good to be like, there were there's teams out there in the past that have drafted kickers and punters without having a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and you should do that. So it feels good to be like, yeah, just draft one.
So again, I understand what you're saying, but I am like, it matters very much to me who their kicker is. It matters who their punter is. And because the rest of the team is set up, I don't mind you. Was it 4th or 5th round that they took Ariza?
Fifth.
So I don't mind you using a 5th round pick, because the only thing I remember about last season was everyone sucked in the Jacksonville game. And then in the game that they clinched was it the AFC East? Matt Hacker, however you say his name, was just brutal. And it was like, yeah, we need a new punter. So
I loved being in the stadium when the Bills would punt, because they would punt, he would suck, and 70,000 people would all just go, God damn. Like, to hear everyone at the same time just go, what the fuck? Every time. Like, dude, it was pretty funny. It was a good laugh.
I would love if everyone accidentally said it at the exact same time. It was just everyone, what the fuck? It would just boom out.
To wrap up, our last 3 picks were Christian Benford, cornerback, offensive line, Luke Tenuta, and linebacker Balin Spector, who we brought up. I mean, our last 2 picks from last year didn't end up making the team. They went to practice squad and they were poached. So it's possible we never see these guys, but you never know. Crazier things have happened.
Luke Tenuta, 6'8", 320 pounds. Weird stat here. He only has 32-inch arms. I have 31-inch arms. Wow. And he is 6 inches taller than me.
How do you measure your arm? Is it from the pit out?
I think you go pit out. Okay. What did you know with your arms spread out?
It's the same
as your height.
Yes, I do know that.
But so this guy's got like ridiculously short arms.
Must be missing a chromosome or something. Interesting. I was going to ask you, and this just popped into my head, but now that I know that he's got alligator arms, that's going to be a no. But is this a guy that's going to end up being a tight end or something like that, like the Bills, like a Jason Peters tight end to tackle?
With how, not a lot of depth on the O-line, you never know about Luke Tenuta. He could sneak on.
I don't give a shit.
Greg, you texted me about Luke Tenuta all week. Don't play this card.
Tenuta talk.
Don't forget to bring up Tenuta.
That's right. I was at the bar in the corner and I was like, could you put on the Luke Tenuta game?
All right,
we need to talk about the Patriots drafting a guy.
Yes, that's what I was going to bring up now. New England, really, if we're honest, has never drafted super well, especially in the first round. Their quarterback and coach has just kind of, got them further than their draft classes have. But this year, it seems like they went full Raiders. They were the Raiders of this year, where people pick after pick, people were like, oh, we had that first round pick as a 3rd rounder. We had that 2nd round pick as a 5th rounder. And they seem to have had the most disliked draft of the year. And then in addition to that, because they went all out in free agency last year, they didn't really do much this year. And, their draft classes, whatever, they could be a big step down for the Patriots this year.
Okay, so I'm going to exaggerate. I never do this, but I'm going to exaggerate. So
check the tape. He never does this.
Let me paint a picture for you, and this is going to be just so delicious. Bill Belichick doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, and they miss on Mac Jones. Like, he had a good rookie season, but now everyone's got film on him. He's going to be another Jay Fiedler.
And the AFC is so great.
Yes, the AFC is great. So like the Patriots are going to be the 6-10 team in our division for the next 8 years. And Belichick is going to have like ruined his chances at being the greatest coach of all time. Because you can't argue right now that who's the greatest coach of all time is Bill Belichick. And he can still ruin that. And this is a jump. This is one draft, but the coaches of another team fucking laughed at him like with live mics. Now I'm sure that what's his name from McVay from the Rams, like regrets doing that and probably had to text Belichick right away. And it's like, oh, you don't understand. Like, I'm sorry I laughed, but whatever, good luck. That doesn't happen. Like a coach of another NFL team laughing at another coach / GM just doesn't happen. And it's been hilarious watching the media kind of like The Athletic is the first one I think of. They're doing their draft grade episode article, and I'm going through it. And the guy's like falling over himself to say, now it's Belichick, and I'm not as smart as him, but this is a dumbass pick. Like they're trying to tell, their readers that it's a dumbass pick, but they can't. Like no one will say a bad thing about Belichick just because he has all this, built up. Like he's got house money built up on how well he's done. But it'd be hilarious if for the next 6 years, it's just like, boy, it was all Tom Brady. Like that would be fun. That would be fun.
And it's, as we said, it's very easy to make the argument that not only most people in the conference, but certainly most people in the division got better. Bills got Von Miller. Jets had 3 first-round picks that a lot of people like. Dolphins got a new coach, Tyreek Hill, a couple other people, and the Patriots kind of did nothing. And they lost some key members of their defense on top of that. So like, unless Mac Jones takes that big step, they might be looking at that, 7-win season.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I kind of want to get into Baltimore too for a second. It's like, I don't know. I feel like the Bills set a mold for how to build around a quarterback. And it's like the Patriots, they drafted a wide receiver in the 2nd round, which again, people said would have been there in the 4th. But like, that's how you build around your quarterback. And they took another running back in the 4th round. You have 4 running backs on that team, and you draft 1 wide receiver. Who is he throwing the ball to? You still
Aguilar?
have nobody. Like, it's so funny to watch. And to Greg's point, I think he has built up enough winning over the years that no matter what, unless he has 20 years of being bad, I think everyone will always overlook. And maybe at the end, it'll be like a little caveat that'll be like, the last 5 years weren't great, but he was so great. So I don't think it'll ever tarnish his reputation. Plus, for a long time, people have been calling out the Bill Belichick drafts through years. Even while Tom Brady was there, they're like, these guys don't stick around. They cut them. They barely play. And now they're out of the league. But it just, someone would tweet that, it would go semi-viral, and everyone would just go, kiss the rings, bitch. And
That's because he had Tom Brady. This is going to make Brady look even better. And I'm telling you, if he does this for another 6 years, he is going to jeopardize just in general conversation that people are like, he wasn't the best. Like, look what he's done since.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong.
Well, now, Kyle, what do you want to say about Baltimore?
Baltimore pisses me off here because I like Lamar Jackson. If you go back and listen to our 2018 draft episode, I was a big Lamar Jackson fan.
Yeah. I was just listening to that. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? If you want to go back and listen to past episodes,
they're
all out there. All
do you know there's a bar in Buffalo where they've got a bunch of radios set up, playing different episodes of the In the Hunt cast, and the's a bunch of guys at the tables like, can you put the 2018 In the Hunt draft recap episode on? I want to hear what Kyle thinks about Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
like, that's the thing.
But also skip what I said about Josh Allen.
Skip what we said about Josh.
And I feel like, I don't think it's a coincidence that Lamar Jackson is the 2nd best quarterback from that draft and has had the what's it called? The most secure coaching. You know what I mean? The other guys have all flamed out, but I'm so disappointed in Baltimore because I want them to destroy Deshaun Watson when he eventually plays, but they have not built around Lamar Jackson. they gave him for a long time. He has had like not great wide receivers around him. They finally last year draft Rashad Bateman. They play a few games together. Lamar Jackson gets hurt. So they don't, they haven't had a full season. Rashad Bateman starts the season hurt. They finally have it. They have Rashad Bateman going into his second year. They have Marquise Brown. They have Mark Andrews. They have J.K. Dobbins. And they fucking trade Marquise Brown. And that's okay. They traded early in the draft. They don't draft a wide receiver. And now they's just back to not having a good core group of guys. And it's just like, what the fuck are you doing?
It's interesting because Baltimore, on the other hand, drafts really well. Everyone, they get all these comp picks, and they tend to draft. Hamilton. Yeah, they tend to draft really well. But all that kind of means shit if your star quarterback is unhappy and you don't have him under contract. Yeah. So like, yeah, it doesn't. And listen, I'm not saying Lamar Jackson hasn't taken a step forward as a passer because his weapons weren't great, but it sure as shit ain't helping. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing there? You have to build around him eventually with weapons, and they don't got it. And they drafted 2 tight ends in the 4th round while already having Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
Like, what? Unless they legitimately don't plan on throwing the ball. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, my response is good.
Yeah. I'm not. It's just aggravating because you're just like, that's just one of those things where you're like, I could have been the GM for this draft, and I feel like I could have made Baltimore better.
Wow. Well, one of these days, I hope Kyle gets that GM spot he's been angling for. Before the question game, I also just want to quickly say, I think the Kyle Brandt thing is very fun.
Yeah, he doesn't. I'm so cool. Like, I have no, like, people hate him. Not a lot of people. Like, one person hates him. Most people just love that there's someone that loves the Bills.
Yeah.
That's
and
Buffalo.
I think it's great. Like, it's over the top. It's funny. I'm all about
it. I'll say this though.
Ooh, wait, yeah, there is a point on it.
I'll say this. It sucks when he does it and the Bills lose, but that's not his fault.
Yeah,
that's the Bill. But when he does like these hype videos, and then the Bills lose, you're like, God damn it, it was all for nothing.
The one part of it that, like, he said, the fucking Super Bowl 57 like champions. It's like, you just get calm. We have never won anything ever. I know what you're doing, and that's cool, but you need to not just, you need to be there. We haven't even made the Super Bowl yet. Like, let's make it, and then you can say like that they're Super Bowl champions. The Chiefs are still really good at football.
It's true. Okay. Any draft final thoughts before we get into the question game?
No, I think draft grades are useless. Everyone gave the Bills an A, and the majority of teams got like A and B, A minuses, B pluses. Like, that's not how grading goes. There's some people fail. Some people should get F's, not C's, and but they're fun to read, I guess.
Well, so far I give us an A plus.
Oh, wow.
The podcast or the draft?
Both the podcast and this episode.
Yeah. All right.
Quickly, Thomas Mulcahy. I kind of hit him up too late, and he said, "Oh, last minute. I guess I'll just say happy spring." So happy spring, everyone.
That's abusive to Thomas. He deserves better than that.
You did hit him up late, but also, like, Thomas, we do a post draft. It's coming.
He told me recently he's moving back to Buffalo, so we're all gonna meet up at some point in the summer.
I want an in the hunt hang.
Oh, we should
find when Sean is in town. We'll get one of those curtains that have the In the Hunt logo, so everyone can do pictures with us.
We got a curtain.
We'll have a TV.
We don't even have T-shirts.
The 2018 NFL Draft. And they won't be able to find the remote control.
I think this is great. Although we're still hoping we'll see, fingers crossed, we do a live up at some point. That's always the hope, but we'll see. Maybe this summer.
Hey, KeyBank Center is going to be empty for a couple of months, so we can.
How funny would it be if we somehow booked it and there were like 9 people show?
Well, that's the thing I was gonna say. Like, if 1,000 people showed up, which would be unbelievably amazing, it would still look like the most pathetic thing that ever happened.
I'll tell you, I don't want to jinx it, knock on this fake wood I have on a desk, but like, if we did a live ep and rented out KeyBank Center and somehow got like Josh Allen and Sean McDermott and Bean, we would sell 10,000 tickets.
No, if we had enough time and Alan Bean and we like Jim Rome used to do tour stops. So like his radio show would go to city to city, and it was really just him getting, he did it at the Bison's ballpark. And so you got 20,000 people in there, and he would bring up Thurman Thomas. He'd be like, Thurman Thomas, hey, you know, like they would say just great things. And like we just bring up a couple of guests, say something good, everyone would cheer and they go with. There's no actual substance to it, but they fucking like, they killed with that crowd.
That sounds like what we do.
That's what we would do with
No actual
like
substance.
if we did that with Bean, McDermott, and Josh Allen, you'd get 20,000 people there. No one would give a shit who was saying, everyone cheer for Josh Allen. Like if you hyped it right, you would get 20,000 people for that event.
All right. Well, you know what? I'll look into.
Yeah, get the ballpark.
I'll look into the ballpark at HSBC. I'll see which one's cheaper, and we'll
Which one?
we'll get one on the book. The jersey on the line.
All the local comics would be hitting us up. Hey, can I get 5 minutes? Can I get some time? Can I do a type 5? Can I get up after Bean? Do a type 5? Can I get a guest spot?
Jersey on the line today. Jack Anderson. He was the guard, 7th round pick from last year, now with the Eagles. But get yourself a nice Anderson jersey. We're gonna do actually you have 6 rounds, but it'll go records back and forth. Is this name a recently signed undrafted free agent or a name I got from somewhere else? We'll start with Greg.
For the Bills.
For the Bills.
Okay.
Bills or
It doesn't matter.
Greg, your name.
That's very true.
Kingsley Jonathan.
So that could be a Bills rookie free agent. Is that is that what these are? Okay, Kingsley James.
Kingsley Jonathan.
Kingsley Jonathan. Oh, because if it's Kingsley James, yeah. I will say that is a real football player.
That's a defensive lineman from Syracuse. Signed
I knew that. Bills. Why are you telling me this? I knew it.
Yeah, I know you. Kyle, your name, Prince Amili.
No.
It's incorrect. Defensive tackle, Penn.
He's a defensive tackle from Penn. You know me. I was going to say that. Yeah, damn it.
Greg, your name, JJ Murphy.
JJ Murphy is it's not Matt Murphy. JJ Murphy is
Ron Murphy.
I'm gonna say he's a football player.
You're wrong. That was the name of my dog when I was a kid.
Aw, JJ Murphy. R.I.P. Is he still? Did he die?
Oh no, he's dead. He's long dead.
Yeah.
He's dead. Sean just has a 30-year-old dog, man.
I'll see if you could tie it up. Snip Nua.
Get the fuck out of here. No.
You say no?
No.
You're correct. That is a famous greyhound racing dog in Ireland.
Okay.
Greg.
Sensing a theme.
Greg, to you. Malik Williams.
Ooh.
Was it Malik Willis was the quarterback? So I'm gonna say yes. Sounds like a football name.
Correct. Wide receiver, Appalachian State.
That's what yes, I know.
Kyle. Smoke Monday.
There's a Sauce Gardner. They should get together and collaborate on a barbecue. I bring the smoke. I bring the sauce. Together, your barbecue is going to be great. Why do we talk like? Why does everyone Greg talk like this?
There's just no way. Smoke Monday.
Smoke Monday.
Like smoke, like SMOKE. No,
Yeah.
no.
Kyle, you are correct, but I will say that is a football player. He was a UDFA for the Saints, a safety out of Auburn.
Dude, what?
Yep.
Someone named their kid Smoke Monday?
Smoke Monday. Greg, your name, Smoke Tuesday. No, this is not. Your name is Emil Nicholas.
Emil Nicholas. Oh, that's Santa Claus's kid. That is a football player.
Greg, it's not a football player.
Damn it. Who
That
is
is
that?
the name of Jared Harris's character in Morbius.
I don't even know what Morbius is. Don't explain it to me either.
It's very bad. One of the worst movies I've seen in a long time.
Oh, it's a movie. I thought it was a show.
Yeah, it's a movie starring Jared Leto, who plays the titular Morbius. Kyle, your name. Raheem Blackshear.
Yeah, sure.
That's correct. Kyle pulls ahead. That's a running back out of Virginia Tech. We got 2 more rounds. Greg, your name. Oh, hold on. I fucked up. Hold on.
I'll just edit this out here.
Yeah, I'll edit this out. Okay. Greg, your name. Trayvon Fuller.
Trayvon Fuller that sounds familiar. Like maybe I saw that. No, that's a football player.
That is
That's
a football player.
But
Yeah.
okay. So, okay.
That's a cornerback out of Tulsa. Kyle, your name. Keith Corbin III.
Yeah.
Good job, Kyle. That's a wide
You
receiver.
threw in the third, and right away I was like, I know it's not a movie character.
That's a wide receiver from Jackson State. Greg, you need this in order to keep pace. Your
Okay.
name, Duncan, Idaho.
No, that's not a football player. That's a character from something.
That's correct. That is Jason Momoa's character in Dune. Kyle, you need this for the win. If you don't, we go into overtime. Greg's favorite thing. Your name, Sapper Morton.
Yes.
That is incorrect.
Oh my God.
That
I
is
hate this.
Dave Bautista's character in Blade Runner 2049. We're going into
Blade Runner sucks.
overtime. We'll start with Greg. Greg, your
Jesus.
name, Alex Anderson.
Football player.
That is a football player. Offensive lineman, UCLA.
I know.
Kyle, your name, Neander Wallace.
Yes.
That is incorrect. Greg wins the jersey. Neander Wallace, of course, is Jared Leto's character in Blade Runner 2049. Greg, enjoy.
I was shaking my head yes because I thought that was a football player. So yeah.
Well, enjoy the Jack Anderson jersey. You did
Okay.
it.
I'm gonna-
We all, we're proud of you.
Thank you. That's all I want is your pride.
And we'll see if anyone has any final thoughts, but let me read our credits first while you guys think if you have anything to say. We have credits. Sign up for the Patreon. We got like 30 plus bonus episodes. We need more Patreon members. Sign up for that.
There's a really, really like my favorite podcast we've ever recorded is now available on the Patreon. And we just recorded it.
And the next one coming out is maybe your second favorite.
What
We like them
one
both.
did what one did we record?
Let me tease it. What one was the Tom Brady one on? Is that the one that's out
that
now?
one,
or the next
that's that one that's out. And then
if you become a Patreon, or if you are a Patreon and you just haven't listened to that episode yet, you're going to listen to it for 20 minutes and you're not going to realize the hardest I've ever laughed is coming up.
Mhm.
So like that's my favorite episode of all time.
And then
And the one after that
episode.
was like amazing, but like
Yeah.
that's my favorite moment in podcast history. So
Well, the one coming out on May 15th has a lot of Greg and Kyle arguing about Avatar football, which is very much worth it. Let me tell
I made
you.
Kyle a little angry, I will, but I didn't mean to. Like, I felt bad.
It's the maddest I've ever been on the podcast.
Can I tell you, I felt it, and like I was like, should I reach out to him? It's like I didn't. I'm like, because you hate when someone tries to act smarter than you, and I'm thinking back, I was like, oh, he's gonna think that I was like thinking he was smarter than me. I was just for the podcast, man. I didn't really. So I almost reached out. Now I'm
I
glad
don't
didn't, 'cause we
want
had this
to
moment.
want to rehash it here because these people aren't paying.
That's right.
We also even at the $1 a month level, we give a lot of free tickets out to Helium Comedy, so that's a nice little bonus.
I think the show
You could
Kyle
have
and I were on.
went and saw Joe List for free.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true.
Joe List is one of the best comics in the world.
You can go and see me for free tomorrow night doing
And me.
and
That's
yeah,
true.
I
I
didn't want to
know I
speak
was
for
on
you.
this show.
Did you not? I didn't know you were on it. Yeah,
No, just
we're
my
doing-
avatar is, but
Okay. You got to listen to the episode.
Um,
Kyle and I are at Helium tomorrow night. You can win free tickets if you go sign up for the Patreon.
Well, depending on when you listen to this will be Wednesday, May 4th.
Unless it's 4 years from now, and you're in the bar that they play the In the Hunt
Yes.
podcast at, and you're like, "Oh, play the 2022 draft recap."
And fingers crossed, at some point in the next couple months, we'll hopefully have T-shirts available through the Patreon as well.
I'm done.
Let's see. We're part of the Helium Podcasting Network. Go see a show, rate and leave us a review.
Manscaped.
Yeah, no more Manscaped. Rate and leave
Manscaped.
us a review on whatever podcast service you use. Follow us on Twitter. I put some episode and assorted best of clips on YouTube. There's some good best of clips up there. And of course, our email is inthehuntcast@gmail.com.
dude.
Also, I
have to eat dinner.
Also, I have a comedy special on YouTube for free. Check that out. And I'll be headlining shows in Dallas this weekend, May 6th and May 7th. If you're one of our couple listeners in Dallas, come out to a show.
Also,
Cowboys suck.
I don't know when our next episode's coming out, but Sean and I will be in Austin
That's true. June 9th
When?
and the
June
10th, I
9th
believe.
and
I
10th.
wanna
I mean, I
to
think we'll have
Austin.
an episode before that, but yeah.
Okay, well, if you forget, it's 10th and 11th, by
10th
the
and
way, at Cap City.
That's right.
If it's still called that. But anyways, we'll be there. If you don't listen to our June episode, our June 1st episode, come out.
Yeah, and our next regular episode will be sometime in June. We'll have a couple guests on. We'll make it fun.
Unless this one never ends.
Okay. All right. I guess we'll end it unless Kyle has any more thoughts about the
No
draft.
more thoughts. I'll leave.
All right. Well, okay, great episode. Thanks for listening.
C plus.
I give it a B plus. Go.
I did have one more thing about
Oh,
Balin
Jesus Christ.
Spector. No, I'm kidding.
I'm so done.
I had one more thing about Smoke Monday.
Sweeto,
All right.
goodbye.
Sweeto.
Gather round, ye mafia, and hear me tell my tale. How through ages on Erie shore those bills were doomed to fail. A kick off course forward is back, and says Berman, says he, you'll circle wagons Buffalo at least till 23. The pass looms large like tattered signs for Barnes and Salino, but Allen and McDermott will bring cheer to Buffalo. They say his arm could cure cancer, but Bills fans need it more. This is our year, it has to be. Dear God, let it be our year. Take my tip before your trip to join the rock pile. Don't be a fan of Tom Brady, and Zubaz is still in style. You don't have to suck dick for a Kiko jersey, you can get one at the store. And dildos on the field, you know they're bound to occur. 13 seconds, the only thing that kept us from that bowl. This is the part where I shoehorn in a reference to no goal. Don't forget the Sabres still suck, but don't let it ruin your day. Harken to those shining Bills, there'll be no hockey in May. Go Bills!